Everyone, welcome to Pub Sports Radio. His name is Jeff Nadeau, big man on campus. My name is Peter Loshak. We're just chilling at the lake house. No big deal. Just hanging out at the lake house. It's week 3 in college football, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Jeff Nadeau, we got two. Last week was a successful show for us. I don't know how your actual betting went, but my betting went fine. It was a successful show, a fun show, and we got 2 weeks under our belt right now. How you feel about college football? I'm feeling kind of good about it.
I'm feeling kind of good as well. And I think you're feeling good because you bought a lake house. Unbelievable. I didn't know you were making that much money. Good for you.
You know, these first 5 MLB team totals, if you hit enough of them, there are some rewards that come with. Now, this isn't my lake house. You fucking kidding me? This is I could drop like $500 on a lake house maybe, but not shit like this. This is the lake house of our own Dan Kelly. I'm hanging out with him this weekend for the first time. It's a hell of a lot of fun, but it doesn't matter whether it's mine or whether it's his. I'm here. That's all that matters. You're here with me doing a football show, Jeff Nadeau, in 2023, week 3 NFL. I think we're going to have another successful show, Jeff Nadeau. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I will say this card doesn't have those, marquee, great, huge games. However, there's a lot of interesting spots, and I think you've highlighted several. I've highlighted several. Let's get into it.
Yeah. I mean, we will. So once again, Jeff will go over 5 games. I'll go over 5 games specifically that we wanted to talk about. And then we'll go over the rest of the card. Last week, we wound up catching almost all of the games. Crazy stuff. Texas did wind up winning. I knew that was probably a good play. We're going to talk about the Alabama game later on for sure as a massive favorite against UCF. Let's quickly look at the comment section. And let's see. Craig Wood says, Pete is a man of the people. Look, I love how genuine this guy is. Yeah, I may not be that great at capping college football, but I'm genuine as hell. No one can take that away from me.
That's Craig Wood, a great word to describe you. Genuine.
Absolutely. Genuine. If people are like, wow, who is this guy Loshak? Is he like a fucking like real deal big time handicapper? And people are like, he's genuine. And they're like, genuine. Oh, well, that's good too. Genuine. Yeah, you can't, and no one can take that away from me. If they gave out sports betting awards for most genuine capper, I'd be in the running. All right, let's go for it. Big man on campus. You ready?
I am.
All right. First game you wanted to talk about, UMass Eastern Michigan. Very interesting one. Eastern Michigan, one of those teams. Should they be laying points to anyone? I'm sure some people would say yes. I would say no. I did take a small shot with UMass earlier in the week. I think the line has moved in their favor. My assumption is that you're going to say that you like UMass here or not. Eastern Michigan just has problem scoring, and any team that has problem scoring should not be a favorite, let alone a favorite of a touchdown or more in almost all situations in college football. Jeff Nadeau, what do you think?
Yeah, I've noticed something really interesting about Eastern Michigan. I'm sure you know this. They are really good as an underdog over the years under their coach. But laying points, they're just not very good. Over their last 10, I think they're 2-7-1 laying the number. You mentioned it. They're not good enough offensively. And I point to last year's game because I have UMass significantly better than they were last year, and I have EMU powered a little lower than they were last year. And UMass hung in the game 20-13. They lost. I think UMass is more dynamic this year. They have more playmakers. They have not one but 2 pretty decent quarterbacks, and they're better on defense. I think this is just too many points. I think we're power rating that UMass is still this bottom of the team. And I'm not saying they're a great team by any means, but I think they're better. I don't think EMU should be a favorite above, let's just even say 3. But you're right. I don't think they should really be laying points to anyone. I'll gladly take a touchdown and a hook here.
Yeah. Eastern Michigan on the road at Minnesota plus 28.5. I'll take that all day long. At home, I did bet UMass earlier in the week. I forgot exactly what number I got, but I would bet that again right now at 7. Although there is a little bit looks like there's a little bit of money coming back on Eastern Michigan right now. They're -7. Juiced a little bit at Pinnacle, but yeah, I hear you. Big man on campus. All right, now the next game I wanted to talk about, this is an interesting one. I think it is still bettable. It's the Florida BC game. Now, I did hit the total early. I swear to God, I'm not lying about this. I got 54.5 on the under. And I also hit BC at, I think I got 27.5. I forgot exactly what I got, but of course there were reports of the hurricane going to impact this game significantly, and I believe that those reports have not changed. So we're probably looking at a grinded out game affected by the weather. Florida State obviously far superior, but on the road here, against BC, given this many points. I would still probably like the under, and I think I definitely still like BC as the side here. It's kind of a big emotional game for them. They're probably going to be fighting to the end, even if they're down by 21 points or whatever. Kind of loving BC. I'm not sure how much I like the under right now at where it is right now, but still at anything 24.5 or better. Liking, maybe loving BC. Yeah, now it's 26 at Pinnacle. Total still at 47. Got to be thinking BC plus 26 is a decent bet. I know that BC in the first two games, struggled a little bit. They lost outright as a big favorite to Northern Illinois, and then they didn't blow out Holy Cross in their next game. Those are not great, but a little forgivable. BC is a huge dog. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I'm starting to get to the point where I think I've heard every single person and their mother that I respect that plays college football that likes BC here. And I get it. I see it. Obviously, the line makes sense, but they're just not very good. Like, I get it. My issue with Florida State is obviously you have Clemson on deck. But outside of that, I mean, I think if you really and truly believe in Florida State, you have to feel like this is a game where they should do whatever they want. Now you don't have the hurricane stuff that you can kind of fall back on, that it might be an ugly kind of game. Something just tells, look, if this gets to 24, which I don't think it will, I think you have to play Florida State at this point. I'm not playing this game. I get what you're saying. This has been kind of the big game where everyone's saying that the dog's going to come in and hang around. But this is what happens in the ACC, Peter. A lot of the time we see these games that just they kind of sleepwalk. They're looking forward to the next game. I guess it's really, do you believe in Florida State enough? Look, they crushed Southern Miss last week, and I was annoyed I wasn't on that game. Why is this game any different? I mean, is BC significantly better than Southern Miss? I don't think. It's a hard one for me because Sharps are on BC, and I respect them. I'm just going to stay away from it.
I think the difference in this game is Florida State's as motivated to get a big win here as they were in their first two games. Is BC as motivated, as you would want them to be to not get super blown out? And I think so. It is a little bit of it's that red bandana day at BC. Yeah, Florida State is way better. It's scary to bet against them. But all right, excellent points, Jeff Nadeau. I would still be leaning BC, but I'm not sure what I think about the game right now. All right, the next game you want to talk about, Eastern Carolina and Appalachian State. And of course, ECU has, had two kind of crappy games, I guess, to start. The Michigan game, forgivable. The Marshall game, a lot less forgivable. Appalachian State, though, coming off of the straight up loss, but huge cover at UNC. And I was thinking that ECU was a good bet at the opening line. It's headed down now, so I'm not sure what I think about it now. But ECU has some offensive issues that they're going to need to fix here. But I think that after the UNC game, I think we might see an improvement from ECU, and they might still be a good bet at the current line. Why'd you take? Although I have some people that I really respect, love Appalachian State here, saying that just on paper they're just way better than ECU, which I can't argue with. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, this is something that I kind of have a unique look at. So I do a phone call every week with ECU Radio, and I kind of gotten to know this team over the years. And I think one thing that even they're saying down there, the most ardent supporters of this university, they're not very good on offense. In fact, I watched them last week, Peter. This team can't move the ball. They have two quarterbacks that are just not very good. They don't have an ability to bring someone off the bench. They're just not capable at either level on quarterback. And they just don't move the ball. Last week, they scored a touchdown, but it was because of a fumble by Marshall, I think, at the 2-yard line. So they're just not good on that end. App State is playing fast this year. They're a lot quicker. But I'm still not in belief that App State's going to go up and down on ECU. ECU's actually got a pretty good defense, which makes them, I think, a great under team. I didn't ultimately get there just yet on this game, but I just found it an interesting one. I think ECU is worthy of just betting the under every week. They seem to be a team that's just not going to move the ball.
Yeah, that's what and especially their team. Oh no, am I online?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay. I just got an offline message. All right, because I can't check. What's the total on this game right now? I know it opened at about 50.5, right?
48.
48. Oh, okay, so it's 48.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing here on the graphic. Some 47.5 too.
Yeah, that might. All right, yeah,
Peter.
That under might be a great play, actually. I'm sorry.
All right, we got you. I'm sorry.
I'm still there. Okay, sorry about that. Maybe I was too ambitious with my locale here. But all right, next game that I wanted to talk about: Iowa State and Ohio. And Ohio, of course. I was on week one against San Diego State. Beat the closer. Didn't matter. They lost, but they kind of made a good accounting of themselves. They beat FAU. There were some nice signs there. Iowa State coming off of the Iowa game, and I was thinking that just taking Iowa here +3 or on the money line might have some value. Any reason? And the line has gone down a bit since it opened. What do you think about this one? Ohio maybe a decent play.
I think they are, but Peter, I have a rule, and I feel like I've talked about this. I just don't bet MAC teams against the Power Five. I don't. I think the level of athleticism is just too high, and over the years, it's just been not a good bet taking MAC teams. I think occasionally they're worthy of spots. I don't think at Iowa State's very good. Their issue is they're just not without they don't have certain players because they were gambling. The quarterback's out. They have some issues.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I think Ohio will be up for this game. They got their quarterback back, Rourke. I think if you're playing it, you need a 3 on Ohio. I wouldn't have much interest outside of that. I just don't really like this set of circumstances. Again, MAC teams really struggle against the Power Five. This is the last game before non-conference for a lot of teams. I think Ohio will be up for it. So you might be able to get Iowa State sleeping, and I think that would be your angle here. It's not really one that I'll be betting. I'm kind of lukewarm on it, but if I had to play it, I'd lean the Bobcats.
Yeah, and maybe first half. You're right about that. The last game they played at home, they were up early. They still only lost by 3, though. I mean, they obviously those were different teams back then. But yeah, all right. I'm gonna think about it. I did bet Ohio, and I'll decide whether or not I want to stick with that play. I'm sure I probably will. Next game, you want to talk about Akron and Kentucky. Here we go. Another MAC team. Akron, of course. A crappy team and on the road now against Kentucky, who has some live offensive players, right? Absolutely destroyed Ball State, and then didn't cover against Eastern Kentucky, but that's probably can throw that one out. Got to be thinking Kentucky's the play here, and especially first half, similar to the Georgia game that we talked about last week, which did cover Kentucky, and probably more so first half. That what you like here?
Yeah, I think Kentucky is – I kind of relate this a lot to that week 1 game they had against Ball State. Very similar opponent here. I think Akron's worse than Ball State. Peter, Akron's going with a quarterback, someone called Jeff Undercuffler. I don't know. 3 interceptions last week against Morgan State, of all teams. They had to rally, Peter, in the final couple of minutes to even win that game as 25-point favorites. I just think Akron is bad. I think they're a bottom 6-7 team in America. Kentucky's playing quicker this year. They have better athletes. They have a better quarterback, and they're not in the 90s anymore offensively. I think Kentucky kind of gets into the 40s here. I think Akron really struggles to score. This is one that's kind of, not really being talked about much, but I think Akron's bad. And we have something I think to go off of with that first game. Kentucky won by 30. I think it's probably kind of a similar result here. I like the Wildcats at home. I think they kind of yeah, I like Kentucky here. Peter's going in and out.
And what about the first half? Do you like the team? Was I dropping out?
Yeah.
Was I dropping out,
in
Jeff?
And out. Yeah, he's in and out. Jose, maybe we get him back.
All right, sorry about
on that thing here.
Oh no, am I out right now? You can hear me now, right?
I hear you, but you're behind and then ahead. It's weird.
Oh man, sorry about that. All right, yeah, all right. Maybe I shouldn't have. All right, so
Pete, come on back, get a refresh in you, Pete.
Yeah, I'll kind of build off of that one, and then we'll wait for him to come back. But yeah, as far as this game, I like Kentucky. I think with Leary, again, a newer play caller, just better athletes, better offensive weapons, and again, as I said, MAC against Power 5. Kentucky is significantly better than Akron's just everything. And remember, Akron is going with a backup quarterback. So they're an offense I think is going to have a lot of trouble moving the football here.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust a backup quarterback in college football to save my life. Fuck.
Oh, by the way, speaking of you, speaking of backup quarterbacks,
sure.
UTSA last night. I'm just going to say it. Why was UTSA a touchdown favorite with a backup quarterback against Army? If anyone can let me know, I'd like to hear it.
It was a great question. I was at the game and we just fucking run up the middle just every fucking time. It was disgusting.
I'll tell you what, that Army team, they're not playing the triple option per se, but they're playing through their quarterback and like a shot. That offense is interesting. I'm probably not when you're there watching it, but on TV, it's quite interesting. I felt like,
yeah, we got absolutely gashed. It was quite funny at times. 6 for 6 on 4th downs. So very tough.
I'll say this. I think you can learn something from the game. I think one thing we learned is Army is an over team. They're not great on defense. Gave us some big plays last night. And the offense is pretty dynamic. So that's something to keep an eye on. But UTSA needs to get Frank Harris healthy, and they need to get him back to normal because the first 3 games don't mean that much. They're not going to the college football playoff. Exactly. It's all about winning the American. And, you know, they've done okay with the circumstances, I guess.
Yeah, nothing matters until conference plays. Is a classic saying around here, Jeff. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
Pete's, by the way, gone mobile. Pete's moving around back there. He's choosing a different location.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun watch, just watching Pete do his thing back here. Let's see if
I've noticed one thing, that locations when you're outside, they never work a lot of the time.
They never do, but it looked great. Pete, how are you doing over there?
Can you hear me? Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I did a speed test. I did 1 speed test. I got 5. I was like, due diligence. I'm done. If it fucks up later on, not my fault, but no, it was my fault. All right, I apologize. Now, hopefully this will work a little bit better. All right, so where were we? Kentucky, first half. We love it, Jeff Nadeau?
Yeah, so let me bang on that. So yeah, I like the full game, but yeah, first half looks good as well. I just think Akron really, I don't know how they move the ball, and I don't think they have the ability to stop Kentucky. So yeah, I mean, I figure the first half, what do you have on the number?
At Pinnacle, it's 14 minus 115 or 14.5 plus 102. So
14
most places
really 14 looks really good to me.
Okay. Thanks, babe. All right. So let's move on. Jeff Nadeau, you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Charlotte and Georgia State is the next game that I wanted to talk about. This one, you know, I bet it. I took Charlotte. I got, you know, I beat the line move, you know, relative to where it is right now. I think I got 8. I forgot what I actually got. Now it's down to 7. You know, both these teams kind of want to do the same thing, ground and pound, grind it out on the ground. And Georgia State is clearly at this point objectively better. Not sure if they're a touchdown better. And you know, Charlotte can hang. Of course, Charlotte was pretty good against Maryland last week early, and then they lost it. The defense just got worn down. But I think this might be a more competitive and shorter game. And at anything better than a touchdown, I like Charlotte. I know it's down to a touchdown now, but you know, Charlotte, the worst team. That's why they're a home dog, and I think they might have some value. I did bet it. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, Peter, this is why I like talking about football with you, because you find these kind of matchups that I think are ones that I notice as well. I saw this number. I didn't quite understand it. I think 38-20, you'll see that game last week against Maryland, say, oh, that was a blowout. Charlotte was actually up 14-9 at the half, and it was 17-14 at the end of the third. They're a young team, I think, that have trouble closing games out, and I think that's kind of their undoing. But this is a more normal opponent. This is a more on their level opponent. I like their quarterback, Jalen Jones. He's pretty dynamic, and I like their coach. He's this old guy from Baltimore. He's kind of this – he wears, like, tank tops and stuff. He's kind of an interesting character. I like Charlotte. I think if you can get 7 in a hook, I agree with you. I think this is a little kind of a diamond in the rough that a lot of people won't notice. But that's why I like you, Loshak. You're not only what was the word they called you earlier? Genuine, but you also find these little diamonds in the rough. Are you like that with women as well? Are you like that with women?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm genuine, and I'm not nearly as negative EV as people think. I'm like less than 1%. My edge is less than negative 1% in terms of my negative EV in all sports. So yeah, absolutely. And this, I think, this one unfortunately is down to 6.5, which I guess is good. I would probably still bet it at 6.5 and do something stupid like buy up to 7 or something like that. But yeah, I like Charlotte. and probably would still bet it at the current line. All right, Jeff Nadeau, one of the games you picked, the next game you picked, which is a game that I probably would have picked if you hadn't picked it, Pittsburgh and West Virginia, the backyard brawl. I hit West Virginia. Can I help you with something? I hit West Virginia early when it was about to pick them. Now it's up to like -3. I don't know if that's an overreaction, but West Virginia looks like a much more impressive team at the moment than Pittsburgh. I actually don't think that their Penn State loss was as bad as it might look on paper, and they blasted Duquesne, which then throw that one out. I think Pitt did get outplayed by Cincinnati, which means they're going to be gunning for a bounce back here, but I don't think they really have the manpower. If this was, 6, I wouldn't take it, but even at 3, I think I like West Virginia. Is that what you like here, Jeff?
Yeah. I think there's some games though for me where I kind of just want to have to win the game. To trust West Virginia to win by multiple points, I'm not running to do so.
Right.
Yeah, anything under a field goal, I have some interest. This is a big rivalry, as we know. One thing I've noticed about Pitt, they haven't been good in the trenches on either side, which is not normal for them. Right. I actually think West Virginia's quarterback is pretty solid. They have a good running game. And I agree with you. They did not look as bad as I thought against Penn State. They kind of were able to move the ball, which I think you can take something away from it. I think both these teams are not great. I don't think they're going to do much of anything. Pitt, I think, is just kind of floundering. They're not the Pitt of old to me. I think at home in Morgantown, yeah, sharp money's on West Virginia. I like West Virginia as well here a little bit.
I did bet that. Not that it's necessarily a predictive factor, but it's always something to think about. Of course, this is the backyard brawl, and Pitt won last year. Very close, tough battle, and Pitt won. So I'm sure that's all in their minds. And also, West Virginia looks good. I mean, I think Pitt will. Some of Pitt's problems are correctable. I think that Pitt's quarterback will probably improve and be less bad as the year goes on. But yeah, I like West Virginia here. I took them at Pick'em, and I would probably I'm sure I would still take them at -2.5 or -3. All right, Jeff Nadeau, the next game. Oh, maybe this was a mistake. I wanted to take Lafayette and UAB, and I did bet UAB. And I think I got him at -1. Now it's up to about 2.5 or so. UAB is not necessarily a good team, but Lafayette, I think is beatable for them. The ODU loss was maybe a little bit exposing for Lafayette, and UAB is just going to have to have a big passing game, which I think they should be able to do. And I like them now still, but I like them a lot less than I did earlier in the week when I bet them. You think that was a mistake taking UAB at -1?
I don't know if it was a mistake. I just don't really know what we have with UAB. I think what I've kind of learned from them is their coach, Trent Dilfer, they just want to throw the football. They have this quarterback, Jacob Zeno. I mean, you look at last week against Georgia Southern. I mean, almost 500 yards. I mean, 400 of those or so were passing yards. They want to throw the football. That's concerning to me sometimes when all you can do is do one thing, because if one team can key in on it, what do you do offensively? But yeah, the Raging Cajuns, this is not a vintage Raging Cajun team. They don't have Billy Napier anymore. Those days are long gone. They're just not a team. Usually years ago, Peter, you could kind of trust them as a pretty solid team in the Sun Belt. This is a game I'm very lukewarm on. I think it's a bit of a coin flip. But yeah, in these kind of games, I'll take the home team. I'll take the team I feel like with the better quarterback. But it's hard to gauge UAB because they have a new coach. I think a lot of their trends are meaningless. So yeah, I don't have much on this one. I didn't have much on this one last week because you mentioned you liked, I think, the Old Dominion last week against ULL, didn't you? Or something?
Yeah, and that was a casher. That's right. I cashed with that one, but I lost with the under. See, this one it's just that Lafayette, their defense is kind of their calling card, and that they gave up so many yards per play against Old Dominion was, I think, a little bit, concerning for me. We only have 2 weeks, but all right, I'm gonna stick with my UAB play. Although I know some smart people are very down on UAB this year, and for good reason. All right, the last game you want to talk about, Jeff Nadeau, Kansas against Nevada. Now, obviously, Kansas, an extremely impressive team. Their ATS record in recent years has been unbelievable. And Nevada, blown out by USC, that's totally forgivable. Then blown out at home by Idaho, not forgivable. But there's injury concerns for Kansas in this game. I'm sure they want to win. Do they want to win by 28? I don't know. I haven't moved on this one. You chose it. I'm thinking right now, if I had a free play on this one, I probably would throw it on Nevada, but I want to hear why you chose this one, Jeff Nadeau.
Yeah, so I didn't play the side. I didn't play the total. For me with Kansas, whenever I am involved with their games, it's always the team total. I don't have any interest in them on defense. Last year, this is one of the worst defenses in America. I just don't trust them. I'm not saying Nevada can move the ball against them, though. Nevada's bad.
Yes.
I think it would make a clear case. This possibly might be one of the worst defenses in America. As you talked about it, I mean, gave up 66 against USC, and then last week, they didn't give up 33 against Boise or something like that. It was Idaho, the University of Idaho. Kansas has too many weapons. I don't think it matters really who plays quarterback for them, whether it's Bean or Jalen Daniels. I think they can move the football. They're always good in the red zone. They're electrifying and up-tempo. They play fast. I've said this week, I would be surprised if they don't get to 50 here. I think this is a bad defense. I like the team total over 43.5. I think they run it up here. I don't know if they can stop Nevada enough because Nevada can find a way to probably score 20, I would think here. It's going to be around the number. I just play the team total. I don't really care about the side or total.
This is another one where maybe like Kansas first half, because they're obviously, the orders of magnitude better. I love using that phrase. Orders of magnitude better than Nevada. Motivated to win by 28. Not necessarily guaranteed, but motivated to lock in the win in the first half, almost certainly. So what about Kansas first half? Let's see where it is at Pinnacle right now.
That's probably a better play. I think one thing I have an issue here with, if you're going to lay the price, just realize this is not a normal number that Kansas lays, right? Like if you're laying 16, okay, fair. But you got to lay 4 touchdowns here with Kansas. It's not a team you're generally doing that with. And as far as even last season, I mean, Kansas didn't actually win their games by that much. And remember, for as good as they were, they only went over 40 points, I think 4 times. So it doesn't bode well. Now, this team is different, and this is a bad Nevada team. I'd have Nevada power rated, probably bottom 5 in America. I think you just do away with the side and total, Peter, and just focus on the one unit against the one unit isn't good.
Right. Okay, makes sense. Troy Torrance, shout out to Troy Torrance, says, did anyone go on Buffalo? Yes, I did. I took Buffalo plus 3.5. Maybe we'll talk about that in a moment. That was a game that I was maybe going to throw on here. It's just, I don't know. Liberty's a tough team to fade, but yes, I did move on Buffalo plus 3.5. I definitely took that one myself. All right. The next game we're going to talk about, the last one, is an interesting one. We'll talk about it. TCU and Houston. I'll just start off by saying I did take Houston at plus 7.5. Now TCU, we talked about this in week 1. I didn't predict the outright win by Colorado, but I did say when we were previewing that game that I thought in general TCU is going to be overvalued this year, and I was going to be looking for spots to fade them. It might come later in the year, but I mentioned that Colorado, obviously a very impressive team, but a good chunk of them getting that outright win, I think, was also TCU being overvalued. Then they go and get a little bit of revenge against Nicholls State. We can throw that out. Now they're going into Houston as a big favorite here. And, Houston beat UTSA. They got a little bit turnover lucky, maybe. UTSA, maybe not that of an impressive team. Then they played Rice. We talked about that last week. I liked Rice in that one. And once again, I was quoting you, Jeff Nadeau, from week 1. Rice isn't that bad. So I'm thinking maybe Houston getting 7.5 is a decent play. I did bet that one. If they get blown out, I would not be shocked or even maybe surprised. But I think there might be some value here. What do you think about Houston bouncing back after the loss to Rice plus 7.5?
Well, here's how I look at these kind of games. If I like the dog in this game, why not just take the over? I mean, TCU is going to score.
I like the over as well. I like the over.
Yeah,
I think that one too. Yeah.
I think last week's game with Houston and Rice, that's indicative of what Houston games are going to be like this year. Now you're playing whether or not TCU is good on defense. This is one of the better offenses still in America. We saw them run it up against Colorado, obviously in a losing effort. I just don't really see a lot of defense played here. And what I found interesting, Peter, last week is a lot of the games that seemed like over games, SMU, Oklahoma, Texas State, UTSA, games like that, they went way under. Now, this one and these kind of games, I feel like it's first. Last week, Houston's, though, went way over. So I kind of like the over here with both these teams. Two teams I think are going to throw the football and kind of go up and down.
Yeah, look at this. Julian Cesario, shout out Julian Cesario, says everyone on Houston. Okay, is that true? Houston trash. I would vaguely agree with that. Yes, give me TCU. Yeah, I mean TCU might win, even if they win by 10. You get a cover. So I'm just telling you what I bet, and I'm listening to you guys. I also like the over and the team total over. Justin McElvey likes the Houston team total over as well, and Julian Cesario likes the Liberty money line. Yeah, Liberty is tough to bet against. All right, big man on campus. We got 29 more minutes. We can cover anything and everything from the rest of the card. I'll start out with the most bet game on the card, even if you include NFL games, and that, of course, is Colorado State. Colorado. Now, I think that Colorado at some point is going to be a fade, if only for just one game. There's going to be a spot where Colorado is going to be a good fade. Of course, they're getting a ton of hype, and I actually bet Colorado State earlier in the week, which I thought was a good bet until the fucking coach opened his mouth and made it what? Jeff?
I'm listening. No, I'm listening.
Made it what? Made it what? He made it what? No, he made it personal. He made it personal. Oh, so now it's personal. Now fucking Colorado is going to probably win by 28 or whatever, at least. I don't know. Do you think there's a way of playing this game, or do you think just watch the shenanigans?
I think this is the last. Look, if you're looking to fade Colorado, I would probably stay away until maybe next week. You're right. I'm not sure why. And look, I know why Norvell did it. He's trying to get his team motivated, I think. That said, the problem that Colorado State has is I believe their quarterback is out, Clay Millen. Not a lot of people are talking about that. We obviously saw what Colorado State was in week one. I think we kind of had a thought maybe they'd be kind of pesky or plucky, if you will, and they got crushed by Washington State. I don't have any interest. I'd feel like maybe over the total, possibly. Colorado just seems like a team that's going to score a lot of points, and I don't know how good they are on defense, even with Travis Hunter. I kind of like the over a little bit here, but yeah, I'm not. I'm done with Colorado until maybe next week or the week after. I'm good on that.
No, I mean the over might be the way to go, because if the other coach made it then that means that Colorado's going to run up the score. So even if they don't get the cover, I'm still thinking that Colorado State's going to be a pesky dog against overhyped teams, which is what exactly this one is until he made it And so I don't know. Yeah, the over might be a great bet, right?
I don't think I will say this. I don't think that Norvell was wrong. Deion
right.
Sanders
no.
Cringy. He just is. Everything he does is cringy. I mean,
well, join the club, but I know, I hear you.
Peter, hold on. Sometimes people may say the same thing about me. Hey, Nadu, you're cringy. You do a lot of things I don't like. Well, I don't give a shit, so I don't think he cares.
Exactly. And who's winning? Check the final score. That's all that matters. The strategy doesn't really matter. Right. Yeah, man. But I'm in general on Colorado State, and then we'll move on. I love the coach. I love the situation. I love the program being like a little bit maligned. I think they're going to be in spots, probably multiple spots, a good dog for the rest of the year.
One thing I'll say, and this is something to keep an eye on in this game, and why the over, you might have something here. Let's say, and Colorado's got Oregon on deck. So if this game's out of hand at halftime, Peter, something I look at when I'm playing overs through two games, passing play percentage. Colorado State is fourth in America. They throw the ball almost 70% of their plays, which tells me what? I'm going to have them in the guts of the game, in the garbage of the game, throwing the football, trying to score. Right. I think that bodes to an over. That's the way I'd look at it if I played it, but I'm not on it.
All right, maybe a first half over. All right, anyone else want to shout out any games that we want to that we can talk about? Robert Franklin likes West Virginia. JMU Troy. I don't know how much you looked at that. When I do for many games make my own lines before the lines came out. I thought JMU would be a favorite against Troy, maybe even a significant favorite, and then I was shocked to see them as a dog. I know Troy is no slouch, but you have any thoughts on JMU and Troy? I haven't pulled the trigger on JMU yet, just because I was so shocked by the opening line.
One of the games I lost last week was James Madison, and what I didn't figure on, Peter, was that Virginia had a decent backup quarterback, which they did. He shot it out with JMU. They won, but didn't cover. here's what you have to do when you play Troy. You have to be able to stop the run. They have a kid, Vidal, very dynamic in the backfield. If you can kind of keep him in line, look at Kansas State last week, you're going to have success against them. I feel like this is a bit better matchup for JMU. And when, again, I'm looking at games, I'm looking at matchups. I just don't know what they have at quarterback just yet, and that's the real issue. I kind of like the under a bit here. I'm kind of looking at that a bit. But, yeah, if I had to play that game, I would lean JMU. If you're going to give me some points with the better defense and a group that I think could kind of stymie Troy's running game, I'm going to lean on the Dukes here. But this is a team I think that's a wait and see because I don't know if they have a quarterback just yet. And the money's kind of flowing against me here. So.
Right. All right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Alabama, right? Minus 34 right now. I haven't bet this one yet, but I think I might. I think South Florida might be the play because Alabama coming off the loss, is Saban going to make – are they going to, like, try to get revenge by beating South Florida by 35? No, I think they're going to, the next time they're playing a marquee, opponent, it's going to be a different story. They're not going to come in here and try to blow out South Florida. I'm thinking South Florida full game at plus 34. If it gets to 35, definitely. What do you think about South Florida plus 34? I'm liking it more and more.
So I've heard a lot over the last couple of years about, are they really going to blow a team out? We saw week one. Are they really going to blow Middle Tennessee out? Well, they do. Blew Middle Tennessee out. Sure. Go look at their games last year against this type of competition. Blew every team out.
Sure.
Right? Now, here's the thing, Peter, that I'm really concerned about if I look at South Florida. Over 2 games, I mean, they are playing extremely fast, okay?
Right.
Which does not bode well if you cannot move the football in this game. You're going to give Alabama's offense plenty of possessions. It also is concerning, Peter, that last week, South Florida gave up 374 passing yards to a person called Jeremy Musa, who plays at Little Florida A&M. Not great. Not great if you're going to outplay Alabama, who made a change at quarterback, and this is something I wanted them to do. Buckner is the best option. He is also the player that played under Tommy Rees, who's now the offensive coordinator at Alabama when they were at Notre Dame. I think this is going to work really seamless. I think we see a better performance from Alabama defensively. Peter, you got a lot of balls, they would say, betting against Alabama off a loss. I think it'll be good for them to get out of Tuscaloosa. I think they win this game big, 52-10.
Oh, you think so, huh?
I do. I think South Florida's bad. They've made it clear through 2 games they are not good on defense. You can't give up 24 points and almost 400 passing yards to Florida A&M, Peter. Can't do it.
Oh, no, they're a piece of shit team, obviously. But and here it is, Justin Android. Alabama's rotating different quarterbacks tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a preseason
That's
game.
Another thing, Peter. Keep that in mind, too. Sometimes when you lay a big number, I think it's important to foreshadow when they take the quarterback out, can the offense still move? Okay. And look at Alabama. They have more recruits this year at the 5-star level than they've had ever. I think there's a lot of points scored here to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and when they're rotating different quarterbacks like that, that is not good for for fading them, because that means that everyone in there is like trying to prove themselves and they're going to be fighting to the end. I hear you. I just it's a middle of the season. I mean, the Middle Tennessee game was the first week of the season, which is a little bit different. This is like, middle of the season. So the effort. All right. Well, we'll see. I would be leaning South Florida, but I hear you. We'll see how it turns out. Let's see. What else is interesting on the card? I mean, Notre Dame is an interesting team. I don't know if you want to talk about that game, but anything about that pass?
Yeah, I think at this point with Notre Dame, like, that offense is really good. CMU is kind of an issue. It's the last. I don't know. Again, MAC teams against Power 5. I consider Notre Dame a Power 5 team.
Right.
I would just kind of bet on Notre Dame to score points. They're going to put points on the board. I'll say a weird game, Peter. No one will talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 12 noon game with Boise State and North Dakota. Kind of a weird 12 o'clock start. Boise State will score in this game. North Dakota is actually a pretty good FCS team. They can move the football as well. I think they kind of move the ball up and down. I kind of like the over a little bit in this game, starting it out at noon. It's kind of an off the beaten path game, but I think we see points in this game. North Dakota, Boise. Weird start. I think 9 or 10 o'clock.
No, that's great. I might Maybe I'll tail that one right now as we speak. The total has gotten bet up. It's still under 60, though. That's not bad. Jeff Nadeau, let's talk about the Penn State and Illinois game. Now, Penn State, we've talked about it in the beginning of the year. I'm kind of high on Penn State, even though they're a team that is easily overvalued. Illinois is ass. I was thinking that, in most situations, you want to be looking at the Illinois team total under. Maybe that's a good play here. I don't know if I'd take Penn State minus 14, but I'd be definitely leaning Illinois team total under. What do you think?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talking heads, the big, ESPN, Fox people talking about how they like Illinois in this game. They're gonna play well here. I again, if you've watched them in 2 games, I don't know if a lot of the things they have issues with get turned around just because they're at home and play a Big Ten team. Remember, Penn State lost last year to Illinois or 2 years ago. And from what I've read in their blogs, they're very into that, and they really want to roll here. We also have to remember, too, James Franklin runs scores up, and Drew Aller is the best quarterback Penn State's had in some time. What I noticed about this number, Peter, is on Monday morning when public bettors are not betting, this number got bet up a full point. Early money came in on the Nittany Lions, which indicated early action was on Sharp. Sharp money was on Penn State here. They also have a good defense that's like really good. I think kind of hasn't played that well. I think we see them play at a higher level. Illinois just has, I think, problems, Peter, that I don't think are going to be fixed overnight. They got worked against Kansas on defense. Got worked. Yeah. I think this is kind of like a 38-17 type of game. I really do.
Well, 17 would be the over or push, depending on what you get. Troy Torrance, like in Buffalo, he says huge edge according to the database. That's good because I did bet that one. I bet Buffalo. Maybe I'll make that one of my best bets when we do the summary at the end of the show. Julian Cesario likes Penn State minus 14. People are asking about K-State and Missouri. Troy Torrance says, I wanted K-State. Database doesn't show value on either side. I have nothing on that one. It's going to be a pass for me probably. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by these analytic people. I'm not saying Troy is, but what does that mean? Like this is the being above you that says, I like it or I don't. What does that mean, database? What is that?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, and these guys who've have all these spreadsheets never played a down of football in their life. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think that's what Troy Torrance is
telling you this. A machine's telling you.
No, I'm kidding around. Troy Torrance is he's played a lot of downs of football in his life. No, trust me on that one. I don't know exactly how many, but a lot.
I think if you're looking at this game, though, Mizzou is the sharp side here, right? I mean, this number should not be going down. K-State is a betting favorite. People like that team. They like a coach. They like their quarterback play, and people are not generally high on Missouri. This game, I think, it's dropped to 3.5 at some spots. Tough one. I've been kind of betting K-State overs. I had their over last week. They're actually a pretty good offense and not a good secondary. So I think if Mizzou can move the football with Brady Cook, I have some interest. But they seem like they want to run the ball. Not a game I bet. No interest.
No, I hear you. All right, let's shout out some other games here. Let's see what are the other ones that. You have anything on Oklahoma Tulsa? I know Oklahoma is a beast of a team, but once again, Tulsa not really a slouch. Maybe Tulsa plus 28. What do you think?
Yeah, Peter, I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you don't remember this. The first game I ever spoke to you about. I was a kid. I didn't have a camera. I remember I called into an old place that we worked. And this was the first game I talked to you about. I think it was 2014, maybe. And I used the angle of I like Tulsa because this is a little brother, big brother game, and they're going to be up for this one. And I think they were 31-point dogs, and they ended up covering the game.
Right.
I think these games are always big for the little guy in the game.
Yeah.
As you said, it's hard, though, because Oklahoma is so good on offense. And look at last week. A prime example. It was a good start or primer for Tulsa. They played Washington. Going to get kind of the same stuff here against Oklahoma. They're getting the game at home. They're going to make some money out of it. What do you have? 28.5?
I'd actually bet this one. Yeah, I did bet this one, and I think I got 28.5. It's down to 28. Interesting line moves. Ohio now plus 2.5, minus 111 at Pinnacle. So some money coming in on that side. So many games we could talk about. Let's talk about. Let me find some of the other games. Wait. Let me just. I was just scanning them. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. Let's only talk about it for a few seconds. But Vanderbilt on the road against UNLV. We talked about how UNLV not really a good team this year, but they have a coach and and a program that has some spirit to them. I'm a little bit surprised the line is as low as it is. I'm thinking UNLV, even at +4.5, might be an okay bet.
Yeah, I told you last week, I didn't think that UNLV was as bad as the number set against Michigan, and they were able to hang around. And I think they're a decent team, Peter. I don't think they're going to win a ton of games, but I think they're better than we think. I'll keep saying this. I don't really know why Vanderbilt's nearly a touchdown favorite on the road to anyone. I don't know when did we anoint Vanderbilt's a good team? I'm sick of hearing about this. They were 17-point favorites to Hawaii, barely won. Then they got absolutely fucking drubbed against Wake, and now they're on the road out at Vegas as a 5-point favorite. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like EMU is a favorite. I don't want to bet them as a favorite.
Yeah.
Look, if Vandy's getting 12, maybe, but I'm not interested in them as a favorite.
I was all ready to pull the trigger on UNLV plus 7.5 or +9 or whatever when it came out. It didn't. I was surprised that the line was as low as it was. So maybe Vanderbilt isn't getting that much respect. Very quickly, North Texas, Louisiana Tech. I bet Louisiana Tech. North Texas, I'm not sure that they are. They're kind of an ass team. The line has moved. I'd still probably take it even now. Louisiana Tech probably wins by a touchdown or more. Right? No.
This is one of the bigger over bet games on the card. A lot of money coming in. A lot of high scoring games in these two teams. La Tech, their quarterback, I'm not interested in. I hate that kid, Buckmeyer. He's not. I don't want to bet on him. I didn't have much in this one. I always like how you describe teams, kind of an ass team, not a total ass team, but kind of.
It's not like Nevada here. I mean, come on, let's use the words appropriately. In 2023, words should still have meaning. So yeah, I mean, ass for when you're describing a football team has meaning. So I would not call North Texas complete ass, but kind of ass, I think so. People were asking about South Alabama, Oklahoma State. This one I've stayed off of. Someone I saw liked Oklahoma State on the money line. I know some sharp guys who like South Alabama. Normally, I tail sharp guys on those kinds of plays, even after the move. Stupidly, it's down to 7.5. I'm not sure what I think about this one. You got anything on that?
Yeah, I don't either, because South Alabama I thought would be better against Tulane. They weren't. They then came back and beat a team they should. This is kind of a put up or shut up game for South Alabama. I kind of wonder, though, is the number a little too low? I think maybe if I'm getting 10 or 12 or 14 points, I'd have more interest. Again, there is a gulf in talent between a Big 12 team and a Sun Belt team. And we've seen South Alabama hang against like a UCLA, but they were getting significantly more points. I still don't like South Alabama. I think their offense is solid. I still think they can play in these kind of games, but I've been really having an issue with how they played in week 1. Tulane shouldn't beat them by 20. It just shouldn't happen. I thought they were a bit overvalued, and maybe this line's too low. For some reason, Peter, I kind of like Oklahoma State, but I didn't get there with it. Let me ask you, a game that I was surprised you haven't talked about. It seems like a game you'd be interested in. San Jose State, Toledo. Should Toledo really be a touchdown favorite in this game?
Yeah, I did look at that. I really have no interest in betting that game whatsoever unless I hear someone who I respect giving a strong opinion on it. That one confused me. I do like Toledo in general this year, as a bet, but no, that one I have no bet on and no opinion on.
All right, so I'll throw another one at you.
Okay.
And I just hear me out, chat. Hear me out, anyone watching, and hear me out, Peter. I am 1-1 on fucking Nebraska. Okay. However, I like them today against Northern Illinois. All I'm asking, Jeff Sims, is you don't turn the football over. If they don't turn the football over, I think they fucking kill Northern Illinois. This number's being bet up. Peter, should Nebraska be a 12-point favorite to no one? No, but they are. I think they win 34-13 here. Why do they not roll a bad team? They played 2 good teams to start the season. Now they can fucking take their frustration out, and come all over Northern Illinois.
This is a very scary game to me, and there's been very weird movement. There was strong movement in favor of Northern Illinois earlier in the week, down to 11. I don't even know, check where it went down to. Now it's back to 13.5 at Pinnacle, so some late money coming in on Nebraska. Yeah, I mean, Northern Illinois, I don't really know what to make of them right now. In general, I like to fade Nebraska. This is a pass for me, total pass for me as of right now.
Yeah,
in a few minutes.
The takeaway, when I know it's a big thing, and whether Jeff Sims plays or not, we may just get the other quarterback, which is good. But if Jeff Sims isn't back, Nebraska's actually decent. They're a good defense. I mean, they should be able to stymie whatever Northern Illinois is going to throw at them. I think there's a gulf in talent here. I think Nebraska wins by 2+ touchdowns. I'm kind of getting to that point with them.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. Let's talk about one other game. Very, very interesting. Jeff Nadu, what do you have to say about it? Washington, Michigan State. Obviously, the Michigan State coaching situation is in play here. Michigan State catching 16.5. I know Washington is a juggernaut so far this year. I don't know. Free play, I would definitely be betting Michigan State here, and then maybe I'll bet it with actual money after I do a little bit more research into it. 16.5. What do you think about that?
It's a tough one because I think Washington's really good. I don't know what they are on defense, and I think Michigan State's quarterback is actually pretty good. I think they kind of rally around their coach. I think we've heard from certain people that say, I think there's more to the story here, and I don't think we know exactly everything. Washington beat them up last season, but the game was kind of close towards the end. This is kind of one that I kind of relate to Kansas a little bit. There's one unit that I trust here, Washington's offense, and there's one unit I do not trust, Michigan State's pass defense. Their pass defense sucks. It sucked for the last 3 seasons, and I think Washington attacks them down the field. I would look at maybe just banging on them to score. This total 56-ish, I feel like I just want to concentrate on Washington. I don't really know what I'm going to get out of Michigan State. I just know they're not good on defense.
Hey, Trap God likes the over in that game. Julian Cesario asking about UNC -7, or no, he's saying he likes -7. What do you think about that? That's another pass for me.
Yeah, it's a pass for me too. Gun to my head, it was 7.5 earlier this week. I would have probably went with Minnesota at that point. North Carolina is still a question of can they stop teams defensively, and this is a big kind of step up. I think Minnesota's quarterback's pretty solid. I like that kid, the Greek kid they have. I like their defense as well. They always play hard on that side of the ball, very tough. They dirty games up. You look at the total. This is going to probably be around 24 points. In that case, if you're going to give me 7 points with Minnesota, I would go that way, but I passed on it overall.
All right. I'll confess to a bet that I did make. I highly recommend that no one tail this at all. I'm not totally 100% sure what I think of Georgia. I did take a shot with South Carolina plus. I think I got 28. I don't remember the exact line. Now it's down to 27 at -113. I will fully admit on camera that I took a shot with South Carolina plus huge points at Georgia.
We've kind of forgotten about Georgia, haven't we? I haven't heard anyone talk about Georgia. And that's because they played, UT Martin and Ball State. I think they've just been, I thought last week they were probably a good bet. Yeah, I forget what that number. I think it was 42.
Yeah, they were the first half. That was one of my top plays on the card, first half.
That's right. Good call. But yeah, they're kind of going through the motions and still rolling teams. We have to anoint them as the number 1 team because they haven't done anything stupid. This is a league game. I think that kind of makes it bigger. I don't want to bet against Georgia, Peter. Sorry, I'm not interested. Didn't have much on it, though. It's just a hard one for me.
All right, I hear you. Okay, I'm just scanning I guess we didn't talk about Tennessee, Florida. That's a pass for me. The line has moved in Florida's favor. Strong opinions on both sides. What's your opinion, if anything?
Leaned over. I think both offenses move the football. I mean, Florida hasn't played well over the years, last couple, but they generally play very well against Tennessee at home. It's been a while since Tennessee's went in there and won, and that's a hard kind of pill to swallow because they're a favorite here. I think there's shenanigans in this game. I think it's kind of a higher scoring game, back and forth, and I think Florida kind of challenges at some point. They play well against this team in that building, so.
And just very quickly, some people, high on Purdue this year. They're a tiny home dog against Syracuse. I didn't bet this one yet. Free play, I probably would throw it on Purdue. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the long term, I like Purdue. I just kind of think they're kind of in a weird spot right now. They have a new coach. They haven't been great on defense. I think they're kind of figuring some things out on that end. I don't know. I kind of go the other way personally. I think Syracuse is just going one way and Purdue's kind of still figuring things out. I still think Syracuse is a pretty solid team. They have a good quarterback. They always have a solid defense. I just hate their coach. I think Dino Babers is shit. I don't think he's a good coach. And I think he finds ways to lose football games on a regular basis. So that would be one that I would lean Cuse, but I'm kind of irritated in the coach.
All right, so let's go over the our favorite plays on the card. Definitely one of my favorite plays on the card is Buffalo. Let me see where the line is right now. It was going to be one of the games that I identified. And then seeing Troy Torrance liking it so much, I understand. I don't like to bet against Liberty, and people are saying that they like Liberty, but yeah, it's +3 right now. Buffalo is definitely one of my top plays. I would have to say that that Kentucky first half. I'm seeing 14.5 at Pinnacle. You can buy down to 14. I think for -115. Probably at some other places you can buy down to 14. I would say Kentucky first half. Buying down to -14 is another one of my top plays here. So those are 2 top plays. Let me scan over the card to see if there's anything else that I want to identify. But Jeff Nadeau, while I'm doing that, why don't you hit us up with your favorite plays of the card? Oh yeah, and then West Virginia, I would also add that one on. Money line at -133 or -2.5, -113. I don't know. I guess I would take -2.5, -113. So that's a third one. Jeff Nadeau, what are your top plays on the card?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go back to EMU, +7.5. I like that spot for that group. I like Kentucky. I think they kind of have their way, whether it's first half or full game. I think they have some success in this football game. That's a golf and talent there. I do like Kansas team total over. I think Nevada's just bad on defense. I think they're going to have a lot of possessions in that game. I'll throw one other one out there. This is on the added board. I always like to play the added games. UCLA is hosting North Carolina Central, and I bring them up. A little bit of background on that group. They have a quarterback, Davius Richard. I think he's an NFL player. I think he's really good. He kind of fits the new age NFL quarterback. They shot it out last year with Jackson State, Deion Sanders' Jackson State team. We're winning the game for most of it, and Deion's boys came through the back door and won the game. They have to go across the country. I think they could put some points on the board in this game. I really do. I think their quarterback's dynamic. We'll see if he can play at this level. There will be scouts there watching him to see if he can. You have a total here at 60. Look, UCLA is going to get their fair share of points. We know Chip likes to run the score up and score the football. I don't know how good they are on defense. I think NC Central can score some points as well. This is kind of some of that deep research, Peter. That's what people like me do. We find these guys. I like this one a bit over the total.
And also the FCS games, as we know, can have much bigger, edges than these FBS games that have been, out all week and are much more closely studied. Of course, the lines move very quickly when they open. All right, so I guess we still got 1 minute here. I'll tell you my leans that I don't have the courage to pull the trigger on. Boston College +26. I'm telling you, Jeff Nadeau, that's a lean of mine. It is a lean. Let me see. Ohio +2.5 at -111, or the money line +109. That's a strong lean, almost in my my top plays here. Jeff Nadeau says Boise and North Dakota. It's 58 right now. The over is -116. I might tail that one. That looks pretty Peter?
Good. 55.5 was an hour ago. Now it's 58. Yeah. How about that?
Absolutely. Very, very nice call there, Jeff Nadeau. Wow, South Carolina down to 26. Look at that. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Tulsa +28. That would be a lean of mine as well, although a less strong lean. Let's see. Yeah, Charlotte down to 6.5. Can't make that an official play, but that's a lean. I did take Louisiana Tech. I don't know. It's moving a little bit in the opposite direction. An interesting, and West Virginia. There we go. Kentucky. An interesting card, Jeff Nadeau. You have anything on the New Mexico game?
No.
Weird.
No.
I hear you. Good.
Shout out to the I will say this though, shout out to the Land of Enchantment. New Mexico.
What's that?
One of the nicest states. That's the nicest New Mexico. That's their slogan. It's the Land of Enchantment. It's also the home of Walter White from Breaking Bad, Albuquerque. Shout out to ABQ.
Oh, man, but Nunya is big on Liberty today. Okay, Julian Cesario leaning Syracuse. And people, just very quick, let's wrap it up. Do you guys like Old Dominion today? We didn't talk about that one. Old Dominion, it's actually gotten bet down, so some money coming in on Old Dominion is now down at 13.
Yeah, I don't have much on that. Old Dominion's a team I very rarely get involved with. Someone's asking Nuke Worker, Oregon State, San Diego State. That was kind of a bit high, I thought. San Diego State's not great, but I didn't think they were 24 points worse than Oregon State. That said, Oregon State looks pretty dynamic. They were great against the San Jose State. I don't know. If you're going to give me 24, lean SDSU, but I don't have much on that one.
All right. Well, I like my 3 picks today officially. Buffalo +3, or you could take the money line if you want. West Virginia -2.5, or you could take the money line if you want. And Kentucky first half, almost certainly buy down to a 14 if you can. If you can't, I guess take 14
Here's
and
what
a half.
we do, Peter. You and I both like Kentucky. You got the first half. I'll go full game. Let's do 2-0 in Kentucky. I think they beat up the Zips. The zip them up. Zip them up. Look at Sean Higgs.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Sean Higgs. I am going to release that video at some point, Sean Higgs. We were hanging out. I was cosplaying Fredo from The Godfather. He was cosplaying just a huge sports betting with an edge marshmallow. And it's a funny as hell video. We're gonna release that. Big man on campus. I got to run right now because I got to bet that Boise, North Dakota over before the game starts, before it moves to 60.5. Go ahead.
I'll let you run. Someone wants a Joe Duffy impression from me. Remember Joe Duffy? Yeah. All right, so
big man. If you want to, one day we can both do Joe Duffy and do a whole show. Both yours is better than mine. Mine is good enough to maintain it. I'm gonna have to disagree with you, big man.
Give me an introduction about Kentucky, and I'll do the Joe Duffy thought.
Okay, here we go. We are sitting here with Joe Duffy, who says he has a great opinion on the Kentucky game. What do you think, Joe?
Peter, I'm down here in Atlanta. I just had a great roast beef sandwich, but I'm from Delco in Pennsylvania. Here we're going to talk about Kentucky. I like the Wildcats. They got a new look offense. It's Joe Duffy from Oxford.
That is really good. People might not know who Joe Duffy is right now. So I mean, half of the fucking good people, but that is really good. Jeff Nadu, here you go. All right. What a great way to end the show. See you next week, Jeff.
Sounds good, Peter. Appreciate it.